Hey everybody, I'm your host, Strategic Jordan. And I forgot to read the footnote on the last chapter. Sorry it's been a couple days. I really didn't mean to get on this, but I just got hit by depression all of a sudden. Like, it came out of nowhere. So I just stayed in bed for a couple days, staring at the ceiling. Oh well, whatever. Hey, I'll tell you at the end, it don't matter. Footnote. A level up. Jesus Christ, little Pip. Must be playing on, like, hard difficulty or something. Get all that extra XP. I want to go on a tangent now for no reason. New perk. Organizer. You are efficient at ranging your inventory in general. This makes it easier to carry that little extra you've always needed. Items with a weight of 2 or less are considered to be half as much for you. There's not that many items. Well, okay, gameplay-wise, there's not that many items that you want to carry around that way that little. I'm so excited about freaking, that's the intro right there. Ignore that while I get the episode. I'm so excited about Fallout 4. I don't own it yet because my computer cannot handle it. I'm missing half the RAM and I need a new CPU. Yeah, gotta get that money, man. Anyways, here we are. Pause. Fuck, I'll leave this sound the same. I can just edit that. And no enunciations or whatever they're called.
Blood. It washed around my hooves, splashed against my legs, carried by the river that was Main Street. I was standing in the middle of the river. It was full of corpses. "How many ponies have you slaughtered?" asked Velvet Remedy's voice accusingly.
A lot.
Sure didn't take you long to become a mass murderer, did it, little Pip?
Fuck you!
Velvet? I looked for her in the storm and blackness. Instead, my eyes found only the bullet-savaged wall of the sheriff's office. Crude spray paint covered it, shouting blasphemies. Raiders had been here. Their sickening hoofwork, sadistic mutilations on display for every pony to see. I watched as the pony torso that dangled from the ceiling inside, its limbs hacked off and coat shaved to the skin, heave against its chains and fall to the floor with a meaty thud.
Ugh.
I tried to scream as it began to crawl towards me. With a wet, rending, the splayed body on the wall,
Well, she's knocked
its flesh
out.
flayed back to show off its ribs and rotting organs, ripped itself free and slouched towards me, splashing in the water. I tried to back away, only to find my hooves mired in the muddy street. The crimson ichor in the water coated my pit buck and sank into my coat around my legs. "Calamity? Velvet? Help me!" I screamed, but my voice carried no sound. A silent sprite-bot watched me, doing nothing as the lower half of a slaver pony joined the things that crept maliciously towards me, a long rope of intestine dragging out behind it.
Whew.
I
Damn.
awoke,
Kitty
my
Cat,
heart
what the
thudding hard
fuck
and
is
my
wrong
body
with
covered in
you?
cold sweat, to the sound and shake of the train. I was weak, but warm, and less achy than I had any right to be. I was laying in one of the beds in the train's passenger car, a blanket over me. Beside me, Velvet Remedy was waving her horn tenderly over my recently crippled leg. To my amazement, my leg felt completely mended, if a bit itchy. I tried to shake the specter of my nightmare. This was not the first sleeping terror that my experiences outside had spawned, but this had been the most deeply unpleasant. The incorporation of my companions, or lack of them, somehow made this dream far, far worse.
Fear of being
Velvet
alone.
Remedy. The last I had seen her, she was fallen in a pool of her own blood, having saved nearly half a dozen foals. My ears perked at the sounds around me. Looking over my shoulder, I saw the colts and fillies from the sheriff's cell taking up much of the passenger car.
Oh.
They looked weary and beaten. 2 of them were fast asleep, but one had enough of a cheer to look at me and grin. That was awesome!
Yeah!
The colt waved itself slowly through the air, then stamped it down with a clop. I gave him a weak smile, my heart finally beginning to calm. Calamity turned from staring out a window to welcome me back into the land of the living. "We're okay?" I was hesitant, half fearing that this was just another dream waiting to become a nightmare. Velvet Remedy nodded reassuringly. "And the slaves?" "In the caboose," Velvet said softly. Less softly. This train only has the one passenger car, and I felt the foals needed the space more dearly. So, it was either the caboose or strapping them onto a flat car. Speaking
That would
as
be
though I would have suggested
hilarious.
something awful was not, I decided, one of her more endearing personality traits. Suddenly, I remembered my original plan, and the locked pens that the pony captives had been caged in. But the locks. I knew Calamity could not have picked them, and I couldn't imagine Velvet Remedy
Just
in her
shoot
own
them.
youth having applied that skill.
Shoot them off.
She rolled her eyes at me. Oh, come now. I'm not the locksmith you are, and I certainly do not have the level of telekinetic mastery that you showed. Most impressive, I should add. But I am a unicorn. I can do basic levitation. Between your missiles and the mines, I was able to bypass the need for lockpicks or keys. The train rumbled around us. Glancing out my window, I saw that we'd already traversed the desert, and were clearly well on our way up the mountain.
I know ammunition might be a little scarce, but shouldn't you conserve your spell power in case reinforcements come and just shoot the lock off? Well, then again, if reinforcements come, you will want the ammunition, but at the same time, shooting it off would be more expedient. Well, then you got the mines, but oh god. Alright, fuck it, you did the right thing. Maybe it worked out, I don't care. The pace of the train
ponies was slowing. We were getting close to the peak point of the mountain track. My conversation with Velvet had lulled, and now Calamity disrupted it completely. Our shadow was back. I pulled myself into a sitting position, testing my mended leg. Shadow? The colt who spoke up earlier declared, Mr. Calamity thinks something's following us. I noticed Calamity was crouched to the window, looking upwards through it, towards the sky. Another. I kept myself from saying goddess in reference of the winged unicorn slaver I had battled. One of those? Like at the sheriff's? I don't think so. But something's up there, keeping just out of sight. If it's out of sight, how do you know there's anything there? Velvet countered. But at Calamity's look, she relented. Another Pegasus, perhaps? Calamity grimaced. I really don't think so. He returned his gaze to the window, quieting. At least it stopped raining,
Griffin!
Velvet Remedy announced, looking out the window. That storm lasted for days. I turned and looked at the thick gray cloud cover. The water had indeed stopped falling from the sky, and the clouds were of a much lighter color, turning the sunlight a drab gray. Velvet? I started. She smiled at me, and my heart soared. Her previous grating remark instantly forgotten. Thank you, little Pip. Your bandages saved my life. I looked at her, knowing that there was no way those poor excuses for medical aid, magically treated or not, could have brought her to health. I started to say as much, but she lifted a hoof to interrupt. No, but you managed just well enough that I regained consciousness, and from there I could take care of myself. She cast a sidelong glance towards Calamity. Not to mention you and that interesting friend of yours. Calamity nickered in her direction.
Interesting
Stared at my leg,
is a
surprised.
code word.
Grinning, Velvet Remedy
She's into
reminded
him.
me. I did always tell you I'd wanted to be a medical pony. I studied for it, and even apprenticed. I looked at the beautiful mare, many years my elder, curiously. If that's what you wanted, why didn't you? Because my cutie mark showed up. One day I sang a song for an ailing gentle pony, and it appeared. A songbird. A nightingale, to be precise. And when your cutie mark appears, your place in the stable is decided. There was a sad matter-of-factness in her voice. It was a truth I knew all too well. I even begged the overmare, but clearly it was going to be my destiny to be an entertainer. My fate was written on my flanks. My voice...
That's the thing about cutie marks that we've learned nowadays. They're not really your destiny. They're just your talent. I mean, okay, in the again, that's something that, you know, back in season 2 when this was written, we're like, oh, it's your destiny. No, that's so, they've evolved as the show's gone on. The meaning of cutie marks has evolved. They're not really your destiny anymore, like we thought they were. They're just your talent. Now, again, because it's a stable and it's basically a totalitarian regime, the overmare's word is law, and so she says it's your destiny. It's a goddamn destiny. But, yeah. KK, I actually have a question since we're talking about overmares and stables. What happens when they run out of room? Like, it's kind of clear that Stable 2's meant to stay closed until the Stable Tech HQ and its vault says, okay, everybody, it's time to succeed in our social experiment that could never fail and go back to the surface. Okay, but that's not going to happen anymore. So clearly it's meant to stay closed until that happened, but it's not going to happen. What are they going to do when they run out of room? I doubt they have the machines and, you know, the the industrial base to dig through the hardened earth crust and make new areas. I doubt they have the materials for all that stuff. I doubt they have the steel because you need you need the iron and the all the material stuff to do that. But then again, magic. We've already seen, not just in the show but in your fic, because it happened in the show later. But we've seen energy to matter conversion, so I guess they could use that to create steel. But I assume that would tire out the unicorns, maybe even kill them. So what's Stable 2 going to do when it inevitably runs out of room? I imagine they're actually nearing the date Stable Tech thought they could go back to, they could complete their experiments and go back to the surface. So they might actually be starting to run out of room if they're actually nearing that date. If you made a blog about that, I'm sorry I haven't looked. I do check out your blogs, but you got so fucking many of them.
Was the most beautiful in the stable, and I could not deny that I could sing, or that I even enjoyed it a fair bit. The Overmare even showed me my genealogy, proving that I was the many times great granddaughter of Stable 2's first Overmare, who herself was already a legendary singer. I nodded. I heard the heart-wrenching music myself.
We all were way off on that.
How could I fight the weight of all that? The Overmare. She graciously allowed me to indulge my hobby in the small times when I wouldn't interfere with my new duties of uplifting the stable's flagging morale. But my dreams, I was told...
Flagging morale. It's already happening. Yep. Great. Well, I guess Stable 2's fucking doomed. If the morale's flagging already... Well, it's been 200 years. But if it's starting to flag now, and then she ran away, and then Stable 2, you ain't got a good time.
Or not for me. Suspecting I knew the answer, I had to ask the question. Velvet, why did you leave the stable? Velvet whinnied demurely. Again, because of my cutie mark. She turned, pulling away one of the medical boxes to show me the little nightingale on her flank. Wings outstretched, beak open in song. Do you not see what it is not, little Pip? I saw what it was, what it had always been. A bird of beautiful song.
She's basically asking you to look at her ass.
It is not a bird in a cage, Velvet Remedy said, her voice pleased. And if it is not, then I was not meant to be either. Come horror or ill, I needed to be free. I'm gonna take a walk outside. Maybe stretch out my wings. I looked up from the book I was reading to pass the time. Turns out, Equestrian Army today was all about battle saddles. The train was slowing to a near stop. The engine had already crested the peak, and the train ponies were drawing the rest of the train down over the lip and around the next bend before releasing it and jumping aboard themselves. There wasn't going to be another chance to get some fresh air, or for Calamity to get himself a better look at our shadow. I nodded, bidding him to go. Velvet Remedy was probably on her way back from the caboose. She'd been making regular checks on the adult ponies we had rescued, and I was entertaining taking a quick trot myself once she was here to watch the foals. I waited, time seeming to have slowed to a crawl like the train itself. She was taking her sweet time. Had she possibly gotten lost? No, that was silly. You couldn't get lost on a train, could you? I chuckled as I realized that, if I ever got lost on a train, my Pip-Buck's automap spell would guide me. Poor Velvet. However could she find her way on a train without it? I had offered Velvet Remedy her Pip-Buck, but to my shock she had refused it. I was stressed how unbelievably useful a tool it was in the equestrian wasteland. She said I could keep it as a gift, and as an apology for having given it to me in the first place. She didn't blame herself for my leaving the stable, but she regretted having played a hoof, and truthfully a whole pony, in my decision. I had tried one last time, and she'd finally told me flatly, I escaped that prison. I will not wear its shackle, no matter how gilded a shackle it may be.
You dumbass! She's incredibly naive and just a dumbass. Holy fuck. Like, really? You're not going to take the magical time-slowing GPS item quick switching miracle watch? Give it to Calamity. Take that Pip-Buck, give it to Calamity. He can use it. Okay, he's already an expert sniper. Imagine what he's going to be with SATs. Or SATs, stable assisted. Okay. Yeah, SATs. He'll be godlike. Give it to him. Ignore her, give it to him. He's a bro.
At that, she'd left to check the ponies in the caboose. I was brought out of my reverie by the draconic roar of minigun fire, followed by the death screams of the train ponies. A mere second later, I heard the switch pulling team, who were currently acting as guards, open fire in return. The foals began to panic, and I was attempting to calm, or at least corral them, when Velvet Remedy returned through the back door, looking worried. At nearly the same moment, one of the train ponies from the switch team burst in, shouting and waving his paws, a lever-action shotgun floating by his side. "Slaver ambush! Protect the children!" What? How could they have gotten ahead of us? Before I could ask, a grizzly pony wearing slaver armor, spiked hooves coated in blood of train ponies, broke into the passenger car and reared up, intending to end the life of another. I didn't have time to think. I just drew my assault rifle and fired at him. The train pony ducked, his own gun swinging around and unloading into the slaver. I couldn't tell whose shot fell him first. Flashes of my nightmare came back to me. I hesitated, but mercifully only after the attacker had been taken down. Then, with a stomp, I activated my EFS and watched the flurry of red marks fill my forward compass, milling about the few friendlies that were in front of me. I turned to Remedy.
You had that off? Why would you have that off? Why would you ever turn that off? You leave that shit on 24/7. That is fucking radar warning. That is sonar warning. That is the fuck, little Pip.
Levitating out the needler gun and fitting it with a marked clip. I had not been able to determine what the markings on the needle clip stood for, but I suspected that any of them would be at least capable of incapacitating. "Take this. Guard the foals with your life. I'm going to hold up ahead." Better to take them down before they got back this far, if I could. Velvet Remedy stared at the needler pistol, as if it were diseased. I couldn't. Oh, for Celestia's sake. You have to. You're not going to survive out here if you aren't willing to fight back. I pointed towards the foals. And neither will the ones you're protecting. Velvet gulped. I mean, I don't know how. No. It's easy. Float it up and point this end at the bad guy. To shoot, pull this little lever back. That's the trigger. She nodded, then looked at me as if hoping I would offer another option. I'm not a killer. I don't know if I can. Learn to. It was a harsh, even brutal thing to say. But that was Equestrian Wasteland. The train slid down the track, picking up speed, but still slow enough for the motley force of unicorn and earth pony slavers to leap aboard. 2 earth ponies with minigun battle saddles had torn through the pulling team, shredding the poor ponies into red meat. The barrage of return fire had slaughtered them in return. I stood my ground on a boxcar several cars forward of the passenger car that held Velvet Remedy and the foals, assault rifle at the ready. My EFS compass was so full of red ahead of me that it was impossible to track individual opponents. Part of me wanted to attempt parley, if only to avoid the growing pain in my conscience.
Fuck it.
But that was out of the question. No. Any pony attacking the train went down. It was with this intention firmly planted in me that I opened fire on the first slaver to jump her way onto the boxcar ahead of me. My shot went wild and she jumped back down. Damn it! I heard an explosion above and behind me. Casting my eyes to the sky, I saw Calamity dodging and weaving through the air, a griffin in hot pursuit.
Knew it.
The enemy aviator held a brush gun, a much nastier firearm than any I had seen so far, and occasionally slowed in pursuit of Calamity to fire a shot. Calamity, bless him, was not making himself an easy target, and costing the griffin distance with each failure. As I watched, Calamity suddenly swooped upward, pulling a full loop, and to my dismay, the griffin matched his move, looping slightly inside his own loop to close a distance with him yet again. I heard clopping coming closer, but as I turned my attention back to the boxcars ahead, I saw nothing.
We'll go and leave it there, because we're almost at 20 minutes, and I can tell you it takes a while to edit videos. It's a good editing program, but it takes forever. Anyways, I realized that I forgot to read the beginning of the next chapter. Go down here. Something tells me this isn't a circus act. That would have given me a clue about what was going to go down, wouldn't it? I still remember that episode. Holy crap. But did I mention the idea of you magicking gemstones and then using those in a magical engine? Like, basically, you create an engine that runs off magic. You put magic into gemstones, put it in the engine, power the engine, take it out, put it into a pile, then take another full gemstone. It gives the unicorns jobs. Pump magic in the gemstones. It's a renewable source of energy. It doesn't consume the gemstone. It consumes the magic inside the gemstone. Because we know gemstones can hold magic. We've seen that in the show. It's what fantasy tells me. It's what we all think. So I think I have mentioned that back when they first said that the trains use pulley ponies. Again, it would be a renewable source of energy. I mean, 1/3 of the population can provide it. I think I have mentioned that, though. If I have, sorry. It just, whenever I hear those pulling ponies who pull the damn trains, it annoys me. That was a 1-episode gag. You explained it, Shell, and you explained it in a way that made them look as insane as they really are, as the ponies really are. But again, I don't understand why they just don't pump the gemstones full of magic and then make an engine that sucks the magic out. I mean, you just hire a unicorn. You don't even need the gemstones. Yeah, well, unicorn master race. We all know it's true. Anyways, I read your comment on my video, Shell, the episode Hooffields versus McColts. It's the Enclave, isn't it? Like, all my comments on that video, the only one I could think of that you were talking about was, fools go to war, then seek to win, but victors seek to win, then go to war. That's the only comment I made that I could think you were talking about. That would also pertain to Fallout Equestria. It's got to be the Enclave, because I know they're in the game. I know I've mentioned this so many times. And how I love how you combined the multiple games storylines into one. But it's the Enclave, isn't it? I have problems with the Enclave. Most of them moral. Politically, I'm weird, and I'll tell you my politics when we get to the Enclave. It's probably going to require a whole video. But just politically, I'm kind of... No, I'm not. I'm not with the Enclave on any degree. Morality, politically, anything. I'm not with them. But my ideas are weirdly similar, just with a more humanitarian slant. I'll talk about them whenever the Enclave shows up. It's going to be weird. But anyway, that's all we have for this time. I talked a lot more, and we didn't even get halfway through that video. But join me next time as we continue our adventures through the Equestrian wastes. Bye.